Hare Krishna. So Krishna is describing his opulences. Just in the previous shloka, that is shloka number 6, Krishna said that he is the one who has created all the Prajapatis or the patriarchs, because of whom the entire population has come in this universe. Now, Krishna is going to speak about something more. What will happen if someone understands this very, very wonderful opulences of Lord Sri Krishna? What will happen? What will the person get? Let's see this in shloka number 7. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo veti tattvataha so vikalpena yogena yujyate natra samshayah. So here Krishna is saying, Yaha veti tattvataha. One who factually is convinced, or one who understands in truth about what? Etam mama vibhutim yogam cha, is convinced of the opulence, vibhutim, and the mystic power, that is yogam, of the Lord. What will he get? Such a person, saha avikalpena yogena yujyate, such a person engages in unalloyed devotional service. Na atra samshayah, of this there is no doubt. So anyone who understands the opulences, the vibhutis and the yoga, that is the mystic power of Krishna, will automatically engage himself in devotional service, and there is no doubt about this. This is what Krishna is making a statement here. This is the result of knowing the opulences of Lord Sri Krishna. Let's try to understand this verse in a much, much deeper way. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the highest summit of spiritual perfection is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one is firmly convinced of different opulences of the Supreme Lord, he cannot engage in devotional service. So, what is that spiritual perfection? Now, when someone is practicing spirituality, what is a spiritual perfection? Spiritual perfection is not good health. Spiritual perfection is not some mystical power. Spiritual perfection is not knowledge. Spiritual perfection is knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is spiritual perfection. If someone is practicing spirituality, any path, doesn't matter. If he knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we can say that yes, he is going to attain the spiritual perfection, or he has already attained spiritual perfection. So this point is very important to understand, that knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead or getting the knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead is very, very important. And so here it is said that only when someone understands Krishna's opulences, how great he is, then it will be very easy for one to engage in devotional service. This is more clarified in the next few lines, which says, generally people know that God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. Here are the details. If one knows factually how God is great, then naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in devotional service of the Lord. So many times people say that God is great, but then how is he great? That Bhagavad Gita is talking, especially in this particular chapter, that how great the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is. When we understand the greatness of a person, it becomes very easy for us to follow that person, to surrender to that person. So here, when Krishna is describing his opulences, if by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, if we understand the opulences which is described here, if we realize how great Krishna is, it will be very easy for us to surrender to Krishna. It's actually something very natural. We want to surrender to someone who is actually a very great person. We will not surrender to any Tom, Dick and Harry of this world. We will surrender to that personality who is very great. And that surrender will not be an artificial surrender. It will be a natural surrender coming from the heart, seeing the greatness of the personality, having complete faith in the personality. So here it is said that When one factually knows the opulences of the Supreme, there is no alternative but to surrender to Him. This factual knowledge can be known from the descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and similar literatures. So again, this is a very important point to note. If we want to understand how great Krishna is, it's not that we just sit on the chair and then think that, oh, how great Krishna is. Maybe he's like this, maybe he's like that. It cannot work like that. We have to get it directly from Krishna. We have to ask Krishna, Krishna, tell me how great you are. And Krishna is telling that in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna asked that please talk about your opulences, and Krishna is talking. When we read Srimad Bhagavatam and when we see that how Krishna in his childhood, when he killed Kaliya, just before killing Kaliya, was dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. Obviously, he subdued Kaliya, he didn't kill. He subdued Kaliya, and for that he was dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. Now just imagine dancing on the snake, the slippery body of the snake. No dancer can do this. Lifting a huge mountain called Govardhan, which is currently 22 kilometers in circumference, he picked that up with his left hand, little finger for 7 days and 7 nights. How? With lots of effort? No, he just picked it up, and then he was playing flute from the other hand. He was talking to people around, glancing on everyone, giving joy to everyone. In fact, under Govardhan, it was a big festival for 7 days that happened. The festival of feast. Which feast? Feast for eyes. Everyone was seeing Krishna and Krishna was seeing everyone. And so many other demons came and Krishna just killed them like this. So when we just understand Krishna's opulence very, very properly from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita, then there is some hope that we understand how great Krishna is. Or else, for a Baddha Jeev, that is, a person who is stuck in the cycle of birth and death, for him to understand how great Krishna is very difficult, because max to max that he can do is relate to something that he has seen on a television or read in some newspaper, because that's what is the max knowledge that he has. And with that mundane knowledge, he'll pull the Lord down at his level and try to understand how great Krishna is. Maybe Krishna is 2% greater than me or maybe 5% greater than me, because we don't know at all how great the Lord is, and we cannot understand by our own self. Only when we read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, under the guidance of a pure devotee, we'll understand how great Krishna is. And once we understand how great Krishna is, then it's very easy to surrender to Krishna and practice devotional service, unalloyed devotional service. In the administration of this universe, there are many demigods distributed throughout the planetary system, and the chief of them are Brahma, Lord Shiva, the 4 great Kumaras and other patriarchs. So these things we saw in the previous shloka. There are many forefathers of the population of the universe, and all of them are born of the Supreme Lord Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the original forefather of all forefathers. Now we see Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma and other Devi Devtas who are there, they are so powerful. They are so powerful, they are taking care of this entire universal administration. And who is the origin of all of them? Krishna. Can we comprehend the greatness of Krishna? These all great personalities have come from another greatest personality, and that personality is Krishna, our worshipable Lord. So this is a very nice analysis that Bhagavad Gita gives us, so that we, people having some tiny brain substance, can comprehend that how great Krishna is. When one is firmly convinced of the opulences of the Supreme Lord, he accepts Krishna with great faith and without any doubt, and he engages in devotional service. One should not neglect to understand fully how great Krishna is, for by knowing the greatness of Krishna, one will be able to be fixed in sincere devotional service. So more we know about Krishna, more we know the greatness of Krishna, more we will surrender to Krishna. It's a natural tendency, as we already said, it's a natural tendency of a living entity to surrender to that person, who is very great. And Krishna is that personality. In this world also we see, whom do we take shelter of? Those people who are very great in various opulences. Why? Because we feel, oh, this person will protect me. Oh, this person is so great, he will protect me for sure. So when someone understands Krishna's greatness, oh, then there is no question of any fear or anxiety. And naturally he'll take shelter of Krishna. So if we have to take shelter of anyone, it's only and only and only Krishna who is the most qualified one. There is no one else. There is no one else as great as Krishna who can give us complete protection, complete shelter. So in this way, when we read Bhagavad Gita and when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we can actually realize the greatness of Krishna through the opulences that he has spoken here in this particular chapter. So having spoken about his opulences and the result of knowing the opulences, now Krishna is going to speak 4 important verses. These 4 verses are called as Chatuh Shloki Bhagavad Gita. So the entire Bhagavad Gita is summarized in these 4 verses. Very, very, very important. So let's start discussing these 4 verses from next video onwards. Hare Krishna.